Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my first impressions look on the Air Jordan 35. During the playoffs, we saw Jeff Green playing and he actually kind of debuted it. PJ Tucker was wearing it, and I believe Kemba Walker was playing it as well. And they were all playing in the Center of Gravity colorway. I believe this is the first colorway coming out. In China, it's going to release on September 27th, and globally, it's releasing on October 17th. So set your calendars up and write the date down if you guys do want to cop this colorway. So from the 31 to the 32, and of course, the 33, all of these shoes took some design cues from, I guess, the 1, 2, and the 3, which is really cool. The 34, they kind of went away from that. The 34 doesn't really look anything like the Jordan 4 at all. And then the 35, it does look a little bit like the 5. So they took some design cues from the Jordan 5, and as you guys can tell, they have the same oversized tongue, and as well as the ankle collar area. And I think that's pretty cool. And also the overall design of the shoe, to me personally, it looks like an old school shoe, but like futuristic. You know what I'm saying? And I really like that vibe to it. Price, we don't know yet. That information has not been revealed yet, but I'm guessing it's gonna be around like 160, 170 bucks. And of course, they did change it up and put some old school materials into the 35, because I guess that's one of the biggest things that people wanted in the 34, or I guess from the 34 to the 35 to come back, is to have premium materials on this shoe. So yeah, here's my first impressions, and let's get it started off with the traction. So as far as the traction goes, in this colorway, it's slightly translucent and it's pretty cool. It's like an infrared, and they're using a full-on herringbone traction pattern throughout this entire outsole basically. And the grooves are really close together, so that does have me worried a little bit on dust. You know, it might trap a little bit of dirt, a little bit of dust. And as far as the durability goes, the durability also seems a little worrisome. The actual individual grooves are kind of thin. I guess they're a little deep though, so that's good, but I feel like the rubber is also pretty damn soft. So of course I'm gonna be playing with these outdoors. Very sad about that, and I feel like I'm gonna chew up this outsole on the outdoor court, but we'll have to see on that. As far as the actual bite goes, you know, I tested a little bit on my wood floors and it seemed to have a pretty damn good bite, very similar to the Jordan 34, so that's good. And also here in the middle of the outsole, we can see the Jordan logo, and it says Air Zoom here in the forefoot and also here in the heel. So moving on to the heel to toe transition, right? So they added a curve shape here in the heel, which feels very nice, and also a nice curve shape here in the forefoot. Jordan Brand's been doing this, and they've been doing it very well. You know, like in the Jordan 12s, those are super squared off, feels like a boot, feels very clunky. That's not the case here in the 35. You get a nice rocking motion. It's not super flexible here in the forefoot, but it's not a huge deal because of how much it curves up here in the forefoot, right? And also that kind of helps to propel you forward. So like when you're jogging or sprinting, you know, basically on your forefoot, this will kind of like propel you forward a little bit, which is pretty damn nice. I do like to feel that, but personally for me, I like to have a more like flexible. Look at that, like the 32 is a little bit more flexible, as well as here in the 31. Like if you look at the forefoot, look at that, right? So it's just a little personal preference to me. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but just a little minor thing there. So moving on to the cushioning system. So they're using a full length Phylon midsole, and in this colorway, it's black, and we have like a pretty interesting pattern on it. It's just like a curved line throughout this entire midsole, and feeling it like with your fingers, like if you squish it a little bit, it's pretty damn soft. And especially comparing it to like the 32, and I guess like the 31, the 33, and also the 34, they all had pretty stiff midsoles. And I feel like they improved it just a little bit. You know, the 35 Phylon like compound seems to be a little bit softer, and in the heel I can definitely feel a little bit more compression, especially comparing it to all these other shoes. So that's definitely a welcome change. Of course, I wish they would have used like React or Cushline, like a little bit softer of a midsole, but this is a step in the right direction in my opinion. And basically where the compression is just like on the edges, not a lot here in the back of the heel. And then they're using very large volume zoom units here in the forefoot as well as in the heel. Right, so as compared to the Jordan 34, they're using the same exact zoom unit here in the forefoot. It's articulated as well. and it feels pretty much the same as the Jordan 34. You know, the forefoot is super bouncy. I love it. And the surface area is literally the entirety of the forefoot. So you feel it in the ball of your foot, the toes, you know, it feels great. And then the heel, there's a little bit of compression, you know, I don't feel as much bounce for some reason in the heel as compared to the forefoot, but it's still pretty nice. And of course, we have the improved Eclipse plate. So they're calling this the Eclipse plate 2.0. And I don't know about you guys, but the Eclipse plate is definitely one of my favorite features about this shoe. It looks super dope. And also you can see the exposed zoom units, right? So here in the heel as well as in the forefoot, you can see the exposed zoom. And also here on the lateral side, the Eclipse plate 2.0 comes up a little bit and acts as a lateral counter for lateral movements. And just the colorways that they can do, like with gradients, like I guess putting some gold chrome on it or something. The possibilities are endless, and in this colorway it's like a really cool glitter, kind of reminds me of space or something, you know. And also on like a side note, the rubber outsole here on the bottom, it like bends in if you press it in. I don't think that's going to be an issue at all, because you know when you're walking you don't really put pressure there, but you know it does bend in a little bit. All right, moving on to the materials. So here in the toe box we got some Curum touches. So basically here in the middle, now on the left and right side of the toe box, you got some pretty nice thick cuts of nubuck, and feels pretty damn nice. I like that. And overall here in the toe box is pretty damn thin. You know, it doesn't feel stiff, it doesn't feel cumbersome. I wouldn't say it's the thinnest material I've ever felt, especially comparing to the 34, but it definitely is thin, and definitely thinner than like the 32 and I guess like the 31. And also on foot, you know, conforms to your foot very well, and overall it's pretty damn comfortable. All right, so here on the lateral and I guess also on the medial side, this material is what Jordan Brand is calling flight wire. I guess it's Jordan Brand's iteration of Flywire. And to be honest, it's literally just like a Curum material with a little bit of like fly wire. You know, you guys can see the individual, like I guess these black wires that go throughout this material. And if you try to stretch it, or like if you push it and stuff, it definitely feels sturdy, and that's supposed to add a little bit more support for lateral movements, which I think is a great addition. I mean, the Jordan 34 had no issues with lateral containment or like support at all. You know, the 34 was great, so I don't really think they needed to improve upon that. Like the 34 had very minimal materials, but I guess, you know, just for like the bigger dudes, it doesn't really hurt, right? And then here in the ankle area, you get a little bit more of that nubuck material. And then going up into the ankle area, we got some mesh materials and a little bit of foam padding that kind of reminds us of the Jordan 5. And also here in the back, we have a tag that says Nike Air. And also there's a Jordan logo on the other side, which is a nice little touch. And also another part about this shoe that I love are these insane Achilles pillows. Like they're literally right at your Achilles, and it kind of hugs your Achilles and keeps your heel down. The lockdown is insane, and the foam feels great. You know, it's comfortable and also helps with lockdown like I just said. And of course the tongue, I mean, it's definitely not as padded as the Jordan 5, but there's definitely more padding than the Jordan 34. You know, the 34 was absolutely thin. There's literally no padding throughout the entire upper in the Jordan 34, I guess besides in the ankle area. So the extra padding in the 35 is a nice change. And this tongue is a half booty construction. So this tongue connects to this upper, giving you a better overall one-to-one fit, and it keeps the tongue in place. And I also really like the oversized tongue. It comes up a lot onto your ankle, like I guess the front of your ankle. And I just really like the feeling of oversized tongues. There is a pull tab on it, and I really like the Jordan 35 logo. I feel like that's very creative. And then here in front of the tongue, we have the Jordan logo. And then here in the bottom of the tongue, they're using the same exact Curum material that's found in the toe box area. Super thin actually, and the breathability is really good. Like if you blow through it, you can actually feel the airflow. So that's literally the only place that you'll have ventilation is through the tongue right here. So the overall materials are not bad. Hopefully they keep the quality nice in the colorways that are going to come out, but I think they did a good job. You know, usually I'm not a huge fan of old school materials like leather, suedes. I'd rather have like a knit or like a softer mesh or something like that. But I feel like Jordan Brand did a great job of like keeping it pretty minimal and not using too much leather, but then using the right amount to look like kind of old school. All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size and it fits me very well. Actually fits me pretty much exactly the same as the Jordan 34. So if you tried on the Jordan 34 and you know what your size is, probably do the same exact thing in the Jordan 35. So it's a super duper snug fit, especially here in the toe box area. And I don't think this material is going to stretch out at all, even if you break it in and stuff. So just be careful with that. It's a tight fit here in the toe box. The length is pretty much good. My toe is literally right at the edge, and width-wise, I would say it's slightly narrow. It's not choking my foot out width-wise, but it's definitely a snug, secure fit throughout this entire shoe, you know, here in the forefoot as well as here in the midfoot. The shoe is also really easy to put on, even though there is no heel tab. That is something that I do miss, I guess, from like the 33. But you know, the tongue opens up a lot, and having this oversized tongue, I feel like definitely helps with that. All right, glossing over support and lockdown. Like I said, I feel like lateral containment is going to be insane. There is an internal TPU heel counter. The Eclipse Plate 2.0 is coming up here in the midfoot for lateral containment, and you have the flight wire. And I guess the flight wire also extends here into the forefoot area, basically where your pinky toe is. So you get a little bit more extra support there as well. So lateral containment is going to be good. Ankle support seems pretty good. I mean, this part covers your ankle bone, but as of right now, it doesn't restrict ankle movement like that much. All right, moving on to the weight. I feel like it's gonna be pretty light. The 35, like 13? Yeah, 13.09 ounces. And then the right one, 12.95. So like 13 ounces on the dot, basically. And that's a little bit heavier than average, but dude, like this shoe, you guys remember the 33? Remember how heavy this shit was? Yeah, 15.98 ounces, 16 ounces for this. And then the Jordan 32, this is a low, guys, and this is probably like 15 ounces. Yeah, 14.57 ounces. And also the Jordan 31, oh, 11.82 ounces, right? So I guess they had it pretty light in 31, and 32, 33, they had it super heavy. And then the 34, as we all know, was pretty damn light. So Jordan Brand, thank you for keeping your shoe light. And also, I believe the Eclipse plate has something to do with that. You know, the overall weight of the shoe is made up primarily of the outsole as well as the midsole, and obviously the Eclipse plate cores out the midsole, taking out a good chunk of weight from the shoe, and also aesthetically it looks awesome. And also the cushioning, I didn't mention this, but you feel pretty damn low to the ground. It's not the best court feel like the Jordan 31 was. This was insane court feel. I would say it feels pretty similar to the PG4. So I'm very, very excited to go ahead and play in this shoe. And aesthetically, at first I didn't really like it all too much, but it definitely grew on me, and getting it in hand and having it on foot, it definitely grew on me. So yeah, as far as my first impressions go, I'm liking it a lot so far. And the Jordan 35 overall feels pretty damn similar to the Jordan 34. So if you ever tried on the Jordan 34, you'll pretty much know what the Jordan 35 is going to feel like. So yeah, that about wraps up my first impressions video on the Jordan 35. Tell us your thoughts on the 35 down in the comment section below. But anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.